Let's talk about the laws of creation. No, I don't mean the little laws like what you put out, you get back, or what you think about, you bring about. I'm referring to the big laws, the mysterious laws, the one that God uses to create. These are also the laws that you can use to create something eternal, not something that will die when you do. These are the laws that the mystics have understood throughout the ages. Hi, I'm Dr. Jen Basir, and welcome to Spirit Stories, Conversations with the Unseen. The unseen world is a beautiful and glorious place. I talk with the spirit world to gather their stories of Jesus, eternity, and the laws that govern all things, and to share them with you. First, let's talk briefly about the principle of order. God's kingdom is orderly and it is lawful. One of the principles of this order is that of right time. That means that I receive the stories, but there is a right time for me to receive them. The time has to be right for both the giver and the receiver. This also applies to you when you are seeking for answers for something. There is a right time for that answer to come. And again, that time is dependent upon the giver and you as the receiver. Second, depending on your purpose in the spirit world, you have a color. And your purpose is what determines your color. I know what my color and my purpose are, and you'll hear that in the story if you haven't heard it before in other episodes. And I invite you to ask Heavenly Father about your color and your purpose. Now, let's hear what the land had to say about the laws of creation. Tuesday, April 21st, Sunderbrook Park, 3:42 p.m. I've come to receive the next part about the laws and story of creation, which the land had shared with me about a week and a half ago. At that time, it wasn't yet time for me to receive more or for the land to share more, and I'm hoping that that time is today. As I say my prayer and stand facing the land ready to receive, she speaks to me. Oh, child, you are back, but I am not yet ready to share. We can discuss gatherers at this point if you so choose. Would you like to do that? Yes, I would. I realized that after we spoke last time and I was processing what you gave me, I probably misspoke. I had said that there weren't very many gatherers, but when I think about it, there are tens of thousands of gatherers, if gatherers are those who bring people unto Christ. There are many missionaries, not just in our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but in other churches and other faiths, and many people who talk about Christ. So I would like you to clarify for me and help me understand what exactly a gatherer is. Oh, gatherers are a very special breed. They do not just preach the gospel. They preach all that is true. They have a light that distinguishes them from all others. It is red and light and beautiful and glorious. That is how you are recognized by those in the spirit realm. Your light is red. Why is it red? Why is it not white? I see missionaries in spirit prison who preach the gospel, and they are beings of white light that attract those in spirit prison who are looking for the gospel. Because red is a portal, a doorway, an opening to a space. Please continue and expand my understanding, if it's possible to do so right now. Okay. Different colors, as you are well aware, produce different frequencies. Each color is a vibration and a tool and has a resonance and a place. It leads to something with a name within a certain shape and a certain space and a certain time. Those who are in spirit prison are looking for a specific piece of truth, and that specific piece of truth brings them from spirit prison into spirit paradise. It is a specific doorway. That's why the missionaries are white and light, because they lead to that specific doorway for that specific truth and that specific space and time and place. All is as one. There are many doors that one must go through. Each doorway is a color, a frequency, a sound, a name. Yours is the most wide and the most healing and the most encompassing. You also carry within you the narrow way, but that is the path for you to walk and not the path for you to share with all others. I thought the narrow way was to follow Jesus, the Christ, and to be baptized by one holding authority. Yes, such it is. It is an internal path, however, and not an external path. The churches teach the external path and not the internal path. You share this internal path with those who have already been gathered and are already in this way for truth and have already progressed along the way. However, your red light brings all who are seeking for Jesus. It is beautiful and glorious, child. Do not despair anything. Once I gather them, who gathers them next? Do the colors follow those of the chakras? The colors are the pieces that make the shapes that you are learning about from Cheryl, and I will link to her information in the description. The pathways are currently a bit convoluted, and you are helping her to straighten them out. However, if one follows them, they will eventually lead to where they do go. They are simply not straight and narrow at this point in time. Is there anything else you would like to share about this or something else I should ask? The land replies, not yet and not for now, but I can now tell you about creation. Would you like to receive? Oh, yes, I would like to receive that. Thank you. Very well. Creation starts in the darkness. The seed, remember, does not realize that it is in the dark, and it grows bit by bit, piece by piece, light by light, line by line, precept upon precept. There is much more to it than it is in the scriptures or the things that you have read upon your earth. Would you like to know the laws that govern creation that you are seeking? Oh, yes, I would love to. Very well. The name Hildegard comes to mind, and when I get home I have to look it up because I couldn't quite recall the rest of it. Hildegard von Bingen was a nun in the Middle Ages. She started wearing the habit at age 15, and she had received visions starting in childhood. She was an amazing woman who created music and followed things for diet and herbs for healing, and had incredible visions about God and about all of creation, essentially. The land replies, yes, let us start with the first law of creation, once the seed is in the dark. The first law is that all that it needs must be there and provided for it within the space where it is put. If it is not so, it is barren ground and it will immediately perish. The second law is that it must be placed where there is Christ, where there is all in all things. If you place the seed in a space that lacks spirit, it will die. It may not die immediately, but it will die nevertheless. Regardless of how much it grows, it will die. The seed must be placed in a space that is eternal if it is to endure. That is why the gospel is so important. It places you in a space that is eternal and that will endure. At this point, I stop and I tell the earth that I feel like I need some cleansing and some faith, because as I'm standing here receiving the story, I'm getting bombarded with thoughts of doubt and fear and questioning the point of all of this. And it's not a new thing for me, but I share this with you because I think it's helpful to know that you will have challenges as you are going forth and expressing yourself and creating and fulfilling your purpose. It's something that happens often enough. And so I just generally acknowledge it and I do my best to set it aside and let it go. But as I've expressed these thoughts to the land, she replies to me, there are many who are listening, child. Continue to receive and to encompass and to embrace. You notice the warrior of the space has laid down for a nap. Yes, I saw the guardian. All spaces have guardians, and they usually greet me when I come to gather a story. This guardian was maybe 15 feet tall, maybe more, very fierce looking, and probably 4 times as broad as I am. When he saw me, he simply nodded, walked a bit away from me, and he lay down on his side in the grass. The land replies, yes, he knows you are not a threat and that the space is safe for the time being. Simply continue to receive. That is all. Okay. What else would you share about creation? There are many pieces and parts that need to be shared. After the orange comes the yellow. I'm going to interject here. I realize after I received this and have processed it later that we didn't talk about the orange, so I'm going to have to go back and ask about that. But this is what the land has to say that. After the orange comes the yellow. The yellow is where the seed starts to gain its own power, its own truth, its own wisdom. Instead of feeding on the milk, it starts to be weaned and to grow and progress. Yellow is the toddler stage. It is essentially the stage of becoming a seedling and breaking through the earth, which the tree told you about months and months ago. Most humans during this time are lucky if they reach this stage and do not progress past it. It is simply the nature of the time into which you have been born. Now, there are always those who are sufficiently past that stage in all times, in all eons, in all places and spaces. That knowledge is always present. You must find it from within. Others find it from without, which is why you are given to receive and to share. Gather the forks and gather the knives. That's what happens at this stage. It's the tools that allow the seed to eat and to consume and to receive with joy and gladness. It fills the belly so they can continue to grow and receive strength for the buffetings. The green light is the next stage. This is the sound of the mother. The call, the song, the beauty of all that is. This is much more light than the seed has seen to this point. It brings eternal optimism and youth and eternity and hope and joy and goodness and gladness in all things. It allows the seed to overcome fear, to no longer be feared, to endure and embrace the buffetings and understand that they are of no matter. Chocolate is your buffeting, child. Sleep is your buffeting. The body at this point is your buffeting. You are working so hard to try to overcome. Simply release and let go. That is all. That is all that is necessary to overcome all things in all times, in all places, in all spaces. Simply release and let go. Blue is next. Blue is where the seed becomes firmly established in the ground. This is where other seeds come along, and dance with it and support it and grow it and feed it. This is truly abundance, more so than any other stage up to this point. This is intelligence and wisdom and knowledge. This is the stage at which the seed begets other seeds, for before this it has not had the ability to sustain life. But now it is prepared and ready to birth more life on its own. The indigo stage, the violet stage, this is the wisdom of grandparents, the third generation. This is where the knowledge of elders is passed down through the seed to other seeds, and passed far and wide to cultures and societies, universes. This is the stage of Adam and Enoch, even Moses, men of old, and women too, whose names have been lost to your time. Now the seed cannot be destroyed unless it destroys itself. It will continue to endure throughout the eternities. It is all beautiful and glorious, child. Be at peace with who you are and the work you have to do. Let it go, and all will come to fruition. That is all. The land referred to other pieces that I have received about the development of the seed and buffeting. These are stories from 2024 that I received from talking to trees, and I will link to them in the description if you're interested. Also, if you would like help developing your spiritual gifts and creating the life you desire, come join my community at drjenbissier.com/group.